Welcome back to the Who Cares News. I'm Genevieve, reporting live from Grad's edit space, the only proverbial newsroom where the trees can file FOIA requests and we pick on the headlines just because we can.
And I'm Grad Fawkes, your super fuzzy and occasionally prophetic canine companion, here to translate the universe's fine print into language you can actually understand.
Let's take a bite out of the headlines and see what squeals. Tonight, on the Who Cares News, a giant hot blob under New England begins its slow, sexy crawl toward New York City. Mark Hamill accidentally speedruns a constitutional crisis. The government blames ChatGPT for cutting $100 million in humanities funding that served no purpose anyway. Anthropic's Mythos model proves once again that AI hype cycles are just astrology for tech bros.
Plus, My Doom Raccoon returns with a dire warning about mantle drips, squirrels with clipboards, and the rise of the winged workforce. Buckle up, forest creatures. The truth is classified, the facts are redacted, and the stories are absolutely worth hearing anyway.
Tonight's broadcast is sponsored by the sponsored sponsorers, sponsors, sponsor.
In other words, a perfectly normal commercial interruption.
Once upon a time in a land far from Zoltar, wherever the hell that is, there was a giant princess. She wasn't completely ugly, but was not loved by human ones either, and she always wondered why. See, the princess would spend most of her days chasing the humans around and eating them, but it was the eating part that made the humans mad. But one day, a butterfly flew by and yelled from a distance. He was like,
"Hey, humans have your DNA."
Our princess, shocked by revelation. Immediately the princess, feeling kind of woozy, threw up, then ate a toad. But humans still didn't like her much.
According to MSN's reporting, scientists have identified a massive, unusually hot mantle anomaly, the Northern Appalachian Anomaly, drifting slowly toward New York City. And here to bring us the full report is Maydoom Raccoon.
Forest creatures, gather close. You've heard whispers of the Northern Appalachian Anomaly, the giant hot blob creeping toward New York. They call it a mantle plume. I call it a slow-motion eviction notice from Mother Earth. This thing moves 20 kilometers per million years. That's slower than your cousin paying back a loan. But just because it's not arriving next Tuesday with a suitcase and a dream doesn't mean you can disregard your responsibility of panicking responsibly. Now, let me tell you what's really happening. Size: 350 km, 217 miles wide. Depth: 200 km, 124 miles beneath the surface, under New England, Appalachian Mountains, current location, beneath New Hampshire, broader New England region. Movement: migrating slowly southwest toward New York City. Speed: approximately 20 km, 12.4 miles per million years. Arrival estimate: the center of the anomaly is projected to pass beneath the New York City area in roughly 15 million years, origin formed. 80 million years ago, during the rifting Tuna opening of the Labrador Sea, when Greenland separated from North America. And now's, because you're all unprepared, forest creatures, I've assembled the Anti-mantle Upwelling Survival Kit TM, available now for 3 acorns and a misplaced sense of urgency. Contents include 1 broken compass that always points toward chaos, a jar of artisanal dirt labeled geothermal essence, a raccoon-signed waiver absolving me of responsibility when the ground gets spicy, and a laminated card reading, "I do not consent to be uplifted by continental drift." For the deluxe package, you get the Fear Mongrel TM user manual, featuring chapters like How to Negotiate with Molten Rock and Fashion Tips for Post-Tectonic Society. Don't trust the squirrels. They have already formed a task force. The birds have unionized, and the blob is their manager. So remember, forest creatures, when the mountains start rising, your sanity depends on the kit. read the manual, and pretend preparedness is the same thing as survival. The fear mongrel, TM, has spoken.
NBC News independently verified that Hamill posted an image depicting President Trump in a grave, prompting the White House to call him one sick individual. The image was found on Blue Sky before removing it.
Look, when Luke Skywalker sticks his foot in his mouth insulting 80 million voters, I think banning him from the press would be the appropriate thing, not giving him more airtime.
When a celebrity with Hamill's reach posts something like that, it doesn't just land as a joke, it lands on top of the emotions of roughly 80 million voters. Some argue that instead of giving him more airtime, restricting celebrity political commentary might be more appropriate.
If you wouldn't hand a lightsaber to a toddler, why hand a political megaphone to an actor with a grudge? The White House linked the post to recent assassination attempts.
Critics say that the connection is a big leap. Supporters counter the logic, pointing out that maybe the FBI should start investigating Hollywood, seeing how celebrities are so aligned with Americans' values.
Values? Posting an image of the sitting president in a grave the day after an attempt on his life is not funny. Like, haha, is funny like,
America, where the Constitution is interpreted through reaction gifs, and trust fund baby oligarchs have all the answers.
Maybe we should stop treating every celebrity post like a PhD is delivering the State of the Union address.
Bloomberg is reporting that United States District Judge Colleen McMahon issued a 143-page opinion blocking the National Endowment for the Humanities from carrying out roughly $100 million in grant terminations initiated by the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency. The judge found the cuts unconstitutional and criticized DOJ for using ChatGPT to decide which grants to eliminate, saying the prompts were, ill-defined, lacked context, and improperly focused on protected characteristics. She wrote, "One cannot treat ChatGPT and the government as distinct actors." According to the ruling, more than 1,400 grants were terminated.
So let me get this straight. We create a Department of Government Efficiency. They use the scary AI everyone says will destroy civilization to cut government waste. A judge says, you can't do that. Using AI here is unconstitutional, especially when it notices race stuff.
The irony is thicker than Manhattan traffic. These are the same circles that spent years telling us AI would make government smarter and fairer. Now that it's trimming humanities grants that apparently needed AI to even spot the overlap with DEI mandates, suddenly it's a constitutional crisis.
So let me get this straight. Deeper issue we're touching on is accountability and standards. If the goal is cutting waste, using AI to scan thousands of grants for alignment with core mission versus ideological side projects should be fair game, as long as humans make the final call. The judge's ruling basically said the method was tainted because of how the AI was prompted and reviewed. This is classic perception collapse material. We must root out waste and inefficiency.
The irony is thicker than Manhattan traffic. These are the same circles that spent years telling us AI would make government smarter and fairer. Now that it's trimming humanities grants that apparently needed AI to even spot the overlap with DEI mandates, suddenly it's a constitutional crisis.
Look, I'm all for the humanities, but when understanding ourselves requires $100 million in foreign grants that apparently needed a robot to notice the problem, maybe the system was already confused about its own purpose.
Peak bureaucracy. You can't use AI to cut waste, but God forbid we just stop funding things that sound like rejected 2023 college seminar titles.
So to summarize, the efficiency department caused a shutdown, AI made decisions no one reviewed, the judge had to explain constitutional law to a robot-assisted bureaucracy, and the media reported it on a geological delay. Government efficiency has never been so efficient.
A new analysis says that Anthropic's April 2026 announcement of its new AI model, Mythos, described as too powerful to release, is part of a recurring AI industry marketing pattern that, exaggerates danger to generate media attention, political urgency, and valuation gains. As the document states, cry wolf once, it's an accident. Twice, it's a pattern. And it starts to feel like a deliberate move.
AI companies love saying their models are too dangerous to release. It's the tech equivalent of, I could totally beat you up, but my mom said I'm not allowed.
Independent researchers found that 8 smaller open-source models could replicate Mythos's dangerous exploit.
So Mythos isn't Skynet, it's a Roomba with good PR.
In Hollywood news, the reboot machine is running hotter than a northern Appalachian hot blob. Surprise! Netflix is apparently in talks for Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck to return as Superman and Batman in some kind of Snyderverse comeback. Yes, the same universe that got cancelled, resurrected, cancelled again, and is now being dug up like a very expensive zombie.
Look, I love these guys, but Cavill is the most dignified man in tights since Christopher Reeve. Affleck's Batman looked like he was one more board meeting away from drinking. But at this point, bringing back the Snyderverse feels less like a comeback and more like Hollywood performing CPR again. We'll see if the big names will carry the script or the other way around.
Meanwhile, Kiefer Sutherland just brought back his full 1987 Lost Boys vampire hair and leather. David isn't done yet, apparently. Bro saw one residual check and decided the night is still young in 1987.
Then we've got Christopher Lambert passing his sword to Henry Cavill on the Highlander set like they're exchanging immortality
Luke,
Pokemon cards.
use
There can
the
be only
sword.
one.
Let
We'll
it
make a
guide your
sequel
sequel.
anyway.
And of course, Marvel is out here shooting Avengers. Doomsday with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine standing next to Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom like two exes who swore they'd never work together again. The amount of contract renegotiations happening off camera could probably fund several small countries. Finally, Mortal Kombat 3 is officially in the works, because what this franchise really needed was another sequel. At this point, they should just call it Mortal Kombat. Please just finish Fatality 47.
Hollywood isn't making movies anymore. They're doing IP necromancy with better CGI and worse scripts. They keep digging up the same graves, putting the same actors in the same costumes, and acting shocked when the audience says, "We've seen this before."
At least the hot blob moving toward New York is honest about taking millions of years to disappoint people.
That concludes today's broadcast. Thanks for joining us for another journey through the perception of your terribly cute forest creatures. Give those buttons a tappy poop, and please share with the woodland masses.
Moral of tonight's show: the earth moves slowly, Hollywood actors move dramatically, and government efficiency moves. Well, not at all if a judge has anything to say about it. May your expansion be eternal.
And a positive addition to your fellow forest creatures.
Move it, I like to move it, you like to move it.